following podcast is rated G for gammon. Please be aware it may contain some coarse language and is not suitable for children or gammon audiences.
Sensual. Sensual. Sensual.
You! Which way you mob? It's Aaron, your favourite reality soon-to-be TV star, and his small sidekick, Carly Wallace.
Small, thank you for calling me small. I love that.
Welcome to another episode of Them Yarns, episode 73, I want to say. It has been a long, wet, good ways day today. Sis, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, you know what? I'm a little bit swamped because it is going to be election time soon, and I am watching like a nerd all the things on the television. So we got the budget, we've got announcements. I'm so old.
You can't be Miss May's queen, and now you're watching politics. You're officially old.
This is why they won't pick me for May's queen. It's not because I'm too old. It's because I'm watching like the budget. That's why. All right. I'd like to think that anyway. I am definitely officially old because I'm like, the budget's getting announced this week. I think I might watch that. Yeah, it's me and my cup of tea, my oolong tea.
Yep.
How times have changed.
I've got a friend from back home who's an accountant, and I follow his Facebook. He's not very interesting. For 364 days of the year, he is gammon, but for the one day of the budget, he is deadly. And I follow him on Twitter or on Facebook. I can't remember which one it is, but I saw him post one year. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep following this lad because this is the night that he shines.
This is night, and I love watching all the reporters that actually turn up and then they give their running commentary as the budget's getting announced, and they have panels of people, and it's very nerdy. But that's the time that these mobs shine. Let them have their moment.
Let them have their moment. Let them have their 15 minutes.
Yeah, so we do have the election coming up. It should be called soon. By the time this podcast goes out, who knows? It might even be called.
It might be. You're right.
Yeah, there's all sorts of dumb political ads on at the moment. One including a certain ex, won't mention names, but if you haven't seen them, there's really racist ads that are on at the moment for a political party with, we'll just say a billionaire. And
those ones.
Yeah, those ones. So
he
that's
happening. He wants to be a mini orange man.
Wants to be make Australia great again is the catchphrase. It's all pretty gross. What are your tips for surviving election time? Because you and I we're a little bit political nerds, I guess, compared to other people. But what's your survival tactics if you get too sick of it?
I just like to have some good fact checkers. So in Australia, obviously that's like ABC and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
you mean Credible Media? Is that what you?
Credible Media that actually do the research and aren't certain mouthpieces for certain parties. So that's how I do it. I just stick to them and try not to read the comment section, and that's probably the only two things you can do because people be crazy getting their political science from Facebook memes and wondering why when they vote for it, they go broke like Nebraska.
Yeah, dead set. Or they're watching TikTok and getting their political views, whatever that may be, whether it's a crazy person talking about welcome to countries or anything else. That's not a credible source, so please don't watch it. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, and if you're going to watch it, fact check it.
Exactly right. But you know what else gets really tiring at this time of the year is the dead horse that is punching down at blackfellas. It doesn't matter what type of political party you are. It's really weird this year because we had the Close the Gap day not long ago, and then now we've got an election coming up soon. So of course every politician has their stance, right? On
everybody has to talk about blackfellas. We're the deadly ticket of politics. Only 2.3% of the population, nearly 2.4, and apparently we matter more than everybody else, except for when you actually want to help us.
Yeah. And, we know one party, well, actually a couple of parties have now come out and said, if I'm going to be in power, there won't be an Indigenous flag. We'll have one flag. We won't have, there's another extremely racist politician that will say, I'm going to get rid of this woke Indigenous agenda. And we've got other politicians that, sit in places that are black politicians sitting on many sides of the table who all have their own agendas as well. So actually, what is in it for us when it comes to like a day like Close the Gap? I watched the launch of the Loacher Foundation's Close the Gap report the other day. And I was just like listening to the different speakers and stuff. And I don't know, like Close the Gap Day for me, brother, is always like a bit of a reality check for our people. What do you think about it?
Thanks. Well, I think for me, like it's been 20 years since that initial report.
20 years, hey? That's crazy.
Uncle Tom Karma, like he was the one that did that report on Indigenous Indigenous disadvantage. And then it wasn't until K-Rod got in that they actually did something about it in 28, 29. And so, what's that? 17 years of trying to do something about this. And realistically, there's nearly as many going backwards as there is that have actually improved in that 17 years or 20 years since we actually did the report.
So if anyone is listening has never heard of Close the Gap Day or Close the Gap report, how would you describe it?
So there was a national agreement, right? So the uncle did the report on Indigenous disadvantage and looked at things like life expectancy, education levels, incarceration levels, mental health, like all these different things. And I think there ended up being like 19 different markers that we look at now to show the disparity between blackfellas and non-Indigenous people. And I think this is a pretty common theme around the world when you look at and people who have been colonized, their health markers, their education markers, their business markers, all these things are down because we're still trying to fight back from that colonization and get to that equity at the table. So for me, the good thing was that was agreed via both sides of politics, right? It's a national agreement on what this looks like. And that's being consistent for the last 17 or so years. It's literally just about how do we stop blackfellas dying early. I can't remember what the disparity was, but I think it's like...
I think it was 17 years. Back then, it was 17 years that blackfellas would die younger than non-Indigenous Australians.
27 years if you lived remotely.
Yeah. And that's very true for my family. Like my mum died at 49 years old. She was 1 month shy of her 50th birthday. And I guess I take Close the Gap Day every year to reflect on that. And, I've been to many a morning teas. We've all done it. We've all seen a report. We've had meetings at work. We've gone to community events. But to me, that's what actually Close the Gap means is that I now am turning 40 and I go, oh, will I make it to 49? Like that's the reality because, that's our life expectancy. To me, in my brain, going off my mother who's Aboriginal is 49. Like that's the Close the Gap reality for me. So I look at the report and I go, yeah, cool, get all of that. I think it's out of the 19 socioeconomic targets. Like you said, there's only 5 that are on track by 2031. So out of those 19 things that affect us, but the biggest one for me is I'm just sick of going to funerals. I'm sick of seeing our old people die, our young people dying as well from suicide and all sorts of things, our family just dying, and we go to more funerals than we do weddings. I know that's depressing, but that's how it feels, and then we're left with this ongoing trauma. Yeah,
and that's probably the scary thing, right, is some of the things that are going backwards or regressing are things like suicide rates for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. So Australian Aboriginal men in particular have some of the highest suicide rates in the world, like in the first world, I should say, where they count the stats. So mob are already killing ourselves at a higher rate than other people around the world in comparable countries. But that's getting worse despite us supposedly putting, people are claiming there's $4.5 billion going into the industry, but that's not actually true. Like that's not even half of that is actually going into the industry to try support mob. But that's the reality of it is we're not trying to get rich off this stuff. We're just trying to stop people from taking their own lives and having something to live for.
And there is this narrative of, oh, we put so much into closing the gap and nothing happens. So, like, we need to just stop doing that. And it's not working. It's not working because we know that this money is often tied up in these government agencies or places that are run by non-Indigenous people, and it doesn't have the outcomes that it should for our mob. Anything that is from our mob for our mob is the thing that works. We have our own solutions, but many times this money that government pumps into, you know, whether it's any type of sector, education, incarceration, whatever it is, whatever sector, it is often tied up in this red tape bureaucracy. And that's what is holding our people back. That is where the money waste is going.
Yeah, the money waste is also going into all these non-government organizations that are largely church-based, that are getting millions of dollars to run programs because they're supposedly the most well-resourced. And then you've got some little mum and dad black org that's actually getting results, but because they don't have the money to have the deadly grant writers and the resources to show they can have 17 different resources around this family, they don't get the money, and then it goes to these church orgs who are not paying bloody any tax in the first place, getting millions and billions of dollars in funding, and they're not hitting the target because they're hiring black fellas to do the work when they should be letting black fellas run the work, not do the like. We want to do the work, but we want to run the work too. Like, the solutions come from our community. All the evidence says black people are driving the program, and black people are getting better results. And I'm sorry, I should say black fellas, not black people. When black fellas are running it and driving the program, we get better results. The exact same program.
Yeah, that is true. And, you know, I think there has to be some type of review process. And I know that there are government agencies that are meant to look into certain places and their deliverables and what they're working on and what results they're getting. And I know that half of these places aren't getting a look in, or if they are, they're only just getting a warning, and then it's like, oh, well, just, you know, do better. And it's like, actually, no, our people are on the end of this. Our people rely on these services, on these ACOs, on these ACHOs, you know, all these places to actually take care of us. Our old people fought for these places, you know, like, again, I grew up in, you know, an Aboriginal community controlled organisation, literally at the front desk with my mum when she was an admin worker in there, you know, in the housing co-op, which was also the first health organisation in our little hometown. So, you know, I sat on the board there as well when I was an adult. So, you know, I know what it takes, these little places that, you know, barely get funding. And when they do, they're so overly scrutinised or understaffed or under-resourced. And these other places that should be getting a look in never get pulled up. I don't understand how it works.
Yeah, because they have the money to cover their tracks.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct. What it is. It's literally, it's just capitalism, but in the social work sector. That's all it really is.
You know, with the election coming up, I think there hasn't been any real talk. There's never really any, you know, we're going to do this for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. We're going to, you know, put this this initiative in place, or we're going to pump money into this sector. It's always the kind of same old promises, the same old organisations, the same direction. And you'd think after all this time they would look at the Close the Gap report and go, we're actually not on track. What are we doing wrong? What can we do differently? But I feel like people don't want change, especially post-referendum. It's just like, too hard basket. I'll leave that for the next person that's in power and they can inherit that because black people just too hard basket.
Yeah, I think the other issue is conservative politics wants to pretend that everybody's the same and the solution is the same for every person. Not talking about trauma, not thinking about socioeconomic status, not thinking about all that other, you know, pull yourself up by the bootstrap bullshit. So I think that's an issue as well. So, you know, locally here in our state, we've got a new conservative government, and the measures they're all bringing in goes against the actual evidence of what works. When we're trying to support young people, when we're trying to keep them out of detention centres, it's literally just what looks good in a newspaper, and let's do that. Because it's, like you said, they don't actually have to make a difference. They just have to sell you that they're going to make a difference.
And I feel like everyone is just following again what America's doing in we're going to get rid of diversity and inclusion and we're just going to make everyone equal. If all the brown people, all the minorities, all of the oppressed could just, just bring the issues down, just bring them down a bit. It's too much. You're not special. We're all equal on the planet and in this country, and you won't be treated any differently. And that's how you will get ahead in life. If only you just start acting like the rest of us, then, you will get ahead. Meanwhile, we've not been on a fair playing field in this country since day dot.
Yeah.
And that's why we won't get ahead. And just saying that we're equal doesn't actually equal that we're equal. Make it make sense, Nagus.
Yeah. Side note, I loved watching on social media your mate that owns Tesla
Oh my
crying
God.
about
Oh.
his stock crashing, saying, like my company did nothing wrong, blah, blah, blah. And like, lad, you
What did he
made
say?
yourself far right and aligned yourself with people who don't believe in renewable energy or electric cars. And then you aligned yourself with the racists and you wonder why
My
people
goodness.
who are your biggest target customer base,
Yeah.
left-leaning people who care about the environment and people, are no longer buying your cars.
And now turning against you. What did you think
and
was going to
and the
happen?
stock market is saying like, well, if those people aren't supporting you, then you're going to lose money. Like, I don't know what the opposite of people always say like go work, go broke. It's not an actual thing because going work hasn't actually sent anybody broke, but there needs to be one for the right. Like, I don't know what it is, but
We'll come up with one.
we'll come up with one before the end of the podcast.
Right. And I love how he was like, it's the radical left. I can't believe how mean that would be. The radical left. It's like, if I could just get, just a little tube and stick it under his eye and just get those droplets of white tears of Elon Musk's, like I would sell them for
The
so
elixir
much
of
money.
life.
Could you imagine?
Honestly,
Take a little
you'd-
sip every morning.
It's like
Empowering.
I just put a dot in my forehead. Just like put one little dot in my forehead every morning.
Like Mufasa, like
Black,
across
you
his
think
head.
black don't crack? Wait till you get white tears on there. Woo! Uncle's hair might even grow back. That's how good that stuff will be.
We talk about close the gap. I'm alive forever. Like
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like,
man.
obviously, close the gap's a serious topic, but when I first started talking about close the gap, I was like, bruh, come on.
You can't say
Like,
gap.
really?
We
Like,
talked about this. You can't say gap around black people.
It must have been a non-Indigenous person who come up with that because there's no
course.
way a blackfella's like, we need to close the gap. Like, there's
Can you
no
imagine?
possible way.
Every
any
time I've
First
heard
Nations
someone,
person
yeah,
come
Yeah.
up with that slogan.
every time I've heard someone at it, I could be at a close the gap event, and someone will go, "Yeah, you need to close your gap." That's just something
Every time.
that happens every single
I've
time.
been wanting to say that every time you say it. I'm like, yeah, you didn't
Mm-hmm.
close your gap, but I'm not because I'm a mature adult now. I'm just saying.
And you can
that-
just see blackfellas. Next time you go to a Close the Gap event or any sort of community event and someone's talking about closing the gap, just look around the room. Black people will be eyeing each other and there'll be a fist or there'll be a
Or
with
somebody
a
will be
lip.
mouthing yours.
Yours. Or you want to close your gap. There's always someone.
Yep.
Yeah. And I
Putting,
like,
putting their fingers together like, you,
You.
shut it.
or
close your
making
gap.
that big gap. Your
Yeah,
big
yeah, yeah.
gap. Like it's just
Yeah.
something we can't do. I don't know who came. It's got to have, it has to have been obviously a government department that came up with that. Cause
They
but
thought they were the deadliest too. Like, oh, we got these black fellas now. They love short words like gap.
gap, they love an acronym, anything that they can do to just lessen black people, they'll do it. And yeah, and now that's just the every year it just feels like the same old report. But it seems to be it's getting worse every year. I think, what did you say? Increase in incarceration rates, suicide.
So children's well-being, and
Yep.
that includes like criminal justice, child protection, and stuff like that. That's all going backwards, and suicide rates among Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander mob is increased. And like I said, we already had super high rates among mob already, and men in particular were through the roof. But that's only getting worse.
These reports are important, but it's sad because every year that it comes out, I'm just like, here we go again, like, what's the answer? Don't know.
Yeah, and so there is some good news. So
Okay,
we did say
tell
there
us,
was
please.
5.
Yeah.
The really good news for young mob in particular. So for those who don't know, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander young people under the age of 18, that is our highest population. Not great because we die early, but also great we're one of the only populations, one of the only categories of people who have a whole bunch of young people, right? So we obviously love having kids. Every Corey knockout,
Not
every
me.
footy carnival, we get some more kids come through, unless you're smart like Carly and actually follow the STI sex advice. But some of the things that have gone up, employment. So there's more mob working today than there was last year, and our employment rate is actually going to probably beat the target. So before 2031, we should have just as many blackfellas in jobs in jobs as non-Indigenous people. So that's something that we know that in our society, if we have mob that are working, then that sort of helps other indicators, right?
Yeah.
But the reason why I mention the young people is a lot of early childhood education stats are all going through the roof. So, like 95% of First Nations 4-year-olds are actually in early childhood education. Like that's something that I can't remember what it was back in 2005, but it was horrendous.
Yeah, it was so low.
Yeah, like it was like there's no wonder that kids weren't finishing year 12 was because they weren't even starting. And that 0 to 5 is such a crucial age for young people in their education. But yeah, increased school attendance. That's expected to close the gap by the 2031. The number of First Nations mob who are achieving the national standards. So another thing that we weren't, we were going to school, but we weren't meeting the national standards of other kids, and we're going to be hitting that as well. And business growth.
Yeah.
So there's been a whole bunch of First Nation businesses and economic ownership. I will say, side note to that, there's a lot of new black fellas who shouldn't have businesses. Part of that business growth is unfortunately a bit of black cladding where we have, mob who have just found out their mob and just decided to start a business for that. But
which is wild, man, and it's happening so much. And I'm kind of at the age where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna let other people like deal with that, because I have I've had to be that person to pull people up and go, what are you doing? Like 2 seconds ago, you just found out you was a black fella, and now you're running a black business, but you're making mad money. And that is counting as these stats here, but that's not who this Close the Gap represents. You know what I mean? The mobbing community who've grown up black, who are the ones on the end of all of these indicators that are going down. This is where our mob need to make money off business. They're the ones that need lifting up, not these mob that have grown up privileged, without culture, without obligation, and have just got an ABN and they're out there just making money, and then I'm doing my part for Close the Gap. No, you're not even a part of that. Stop it.
Yeah.
Well, that's good though. There are some
good signs. So that's the positive stuff around what that looks like.
We're going to keep on going. I think the biggest thing that I've seen is our kids finishing school. Like I remember going to school, and I think I was one of maybe 5 students who went from year 8 to year 12 and actually finished. And that was a big deal back then. It was like, oh, we've got 5, which was more than the year before. So now you see these kids, they're finishing year 12, then they're doing all this study, then they're going on to do their, PhDs and their masters, and they're dominating so many different fields, which is just amazing, and competing with the rest of the country. So yeah, we'll get there. I don't know if I'll see it in my lifetime, but it's a good thing, it's a good thing that we get some improvements in there, but definitely a long way to go. So make sure you close your gap and
well, I'm not going to say close your gap, because we do need more black fellas. So if you're listening to this and you don't have kids yet, now is the time to start.
Stop promoting culture or all scrapes.
Let's raise the culture. Let's get more black babies out there. Let's close the gap by increasing how many deadly black babies we have in the world.
By opening the gap.
Open the gap, and let's have lots of babies is what I'm trying to say. Bring more black babies 2026. Let's go.
It's time to play How Black Are You? Brother, you know I love a game show, yeah?
You love a game show. You've been on one or two.
Yes, I
How
have.
many have you been on now? Two.
I can and cannot confirm how many game shows I've been on at this current date, but I have been on one that I can confirm, which was Millionaire Hot Seat. I went on that about 2 years ago.
That's right.
I tell you, we're going to talk about game shows in a future episode because I really want to unpack that and talking about winning money and things like that. But I do love a game show, so I thought I would introduce a new little segment into Them Yarns for a bit of fun. Bringing on the laughs. This is a game show that we're going to call How Black Are You? So this is round one. There's 10 questions. I'm going to ask Nagus a series of questions, and he's got to pick the right one, and that will basically say how black he is and confirm his Aboriginality on this podcast.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't have my. I've got to get my black certificate.
Maybe I should I need to bring up a sound. I need to do a little, let's see what we got here. Okay, Nagus, for a correct answer. Maybe it's this. An applause. Yep. Maybe it's an applause, or we could do no, not that. Or we could do a.
No, I like the applause.
Okay.
I love attention.
All right.
and So, when people clap for me, it's good. Make it clap.
Okay, so if you choose the right answer, that's 1 point towards your Aboriginality confirmation. Yes. Okay, yes, just in case. Okay, round one.
Wait. What's a pass or fail? Is like 7 out of 10 and I'm still black, or which way?
Yeah, it's got to be. You've got to get at least 8 out of 10. It's hard standards these days. We're not letting anyone in when it comes to confirmation on how black are you. So, are you ready for your first question? It's multiple choice. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, number one. What's the correct response when someone yells "Eela" across the room? Is it A, ignore them and keep walking? Is it B, yell "What now?" back and louder? Or C, ask them to use your full name? Or D, say, "Who's that?"
I want to say ask them to use your full government name, but I'm going to go with B. What now?
What now? Correct. That is the correct answer. If you hear someone yell out "Eela," the actual correct answer is "What now?" Okay.
And should we clarify that this is for the northern part of Australia through into Northern Territory? May not work if you're in Melbourne.
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
Chorus, you know what to do. Make your own podcast. Okay. Yeah. Question number 2. What is the ultimate bush medicine your nan swears by? Is it A, olive oil, B, magnesium spray, C, Vicks and flat lemonade, or D, goanna oil?
Well, I love goanna oil myself
do.
because I'm an old man and that's how I get my joints moving. But my grandfather and my nan used to make me eat Vicks.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So when I had a cold, I eat Vicks and flat lemonade. Sometimes they lied to me and gave me aspirin and said, "Oh no, it's just really bad flat tasting lemonade." But yes, I'm going to say C.
Man, when I tell you, my mum would bring the Vicks out in any sort of cough, sniff, anything. Get the Vicks. No, I'm fine. But get the Vicks. And then she'd make me sit in front of the Vicks bowl in the hot shower with the steam. Did you ever have to do that?
Yeah, I do that to my kids too.
I can't see you do it now. It's like a trauma. I don't like saunas and things. I hate being hot. So you can imagine me, kid with sensory issues, being forced to put a tea towel over her head, Vicks in a hot thing in a hot shower. Bruh.
Yeah.
Black mums, I tell you what. All right. Next question. Number 3. What is the most likely thing that you'll find at an Aboriginal family gathering? Is it A, a platter with cheese, biscuit, and cabana on it? Is it B, a loudspeaker playing reggae or country music? Is it C, someone eating their sausage on bread in secret? Or D, kids getting growled?
Is there a E, all of the above?
Yes. It was a trick question and you passed.
It was a trick question.
I love
It was
that.
C. She's trying to get me. She's not going to get me.
It is
Hopefully,
E.
Hope people playing along at home. I hope you didn't fall for that trick.
I tell you what, he's got 3 out of 3 so far. So far, he is black. All right, number 4. What's a surefire sign? Let me say that again.
Can you please speak English for this episode? I'm the one that's tired, and you're
Oh
the
my
one that's
days. Okay.
mumbling.
Number 4. What's a surefire sign you're related to someone you just met? A, you have the same star sign. B, you both love seafood. C, your nan, mum, and mob knows their mob. Or D, you wear TNs.
Well, depending where you are, D could be correct as well. But
Shout out to
I'm going to say C. Your nans all know each other and they call each other sister.
Correct. That's right. If no one else knows you, then yeah, you're not black. All right. What food are you most likely to see at every community event? For question number 5. What food are you most likely to see at every community event? Is it A, a quinoa salad? Is it B, sausage rolls and fairy bread? Is it C, damper rice, simmer chicken, curry chicken? Or D, smashed avocado on toast? Now take it easy here. You are from the Sunshine Coast.
I am from the Sunshine Coast, so the results could differ, but I am going to have to go with C, please.
Yes, okay. Yes, damper rice, simmer chicken, curry chicken. What else do you take to a black community event for food, Aaron Agus?
Well, it depends who's paying for it. If government's paying for it, there'll be sausages on bread because that's all they afford.
Mm-hmm.
But the curry chicken, the rice, there's usually some sort of curried mince because, chicken's expensive.
I make a curry sausages. That's also good to take.
Yeah. When I was back home, it was all cup Murray after that.
Oh, man.
So if you know what a cup Murray is,
You've lost
if you
the
know
game.
if you know what a hungy is, it's just like the blackfella version of that, but where we don't dig as deep good ways. We have a shallower hole good ways, and we use some sand-based dirt as well. So
and we scrape along the bottom.
and we scrape along the bottom. That
Thank
was a whole lot of
you.
innuendo for what is essentially really delicious food.
Oh my God. You know what? I've had a hungy and I've got to say I didn't like it. It really, I don't know if it was cooked that way. It just wasn't cooked like the cup Murray. The cup Murray is wrapped very better. Very better is not a word, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I like a hungy. It just doesn't have the same flavor tones. If you've grown up with the banana wrapping and the different woods and the different leaves that you use in it, then it just has a better flavor. So I still like it because it's slow cooked meat, but some of the Maori fellas over here, they get too fancy with it.
They
They
really
do like little single serve stuff. I'm like, brother, just put the whole meat in the bag and then wrap it up and then put it. You're like, this is taking too long.
Why are you wrapping one potato?
Yeah,
Exactly.
like one potato, one pumpkin, one carrot, one little chicken leg. Like, just wrap the whole thing up, throw it in there, and then we'll worry about it later.
And our New Zealander listeners, including Courage, is probably just having a conniption right now going,
Shout
they're
out
doing
Courage.
what?
we love your culture, brother, but our food just tastes better that way. That's all.
He will carry on that it's not like that in New Zealand. That's the first thing he'll say. Nope, that's all the ones in Australia.
So 2026, Courage, we're coming down to do a podcast down there, so you need to show us what a proper hungy is.
Yes, please. All right, back to the game. How black are you? Question number 6. What's the unofficial Aboriginal sign for pregnancy? Is it A, a kookaburra close by? Is it B, a positive pregnancy test? C, sunrise? Or D, emu running past the house?
And I'm laughing because
so dumb.
In this rain, I've seen this kookaburra hanging around my house. And I'm like, it can't be me. Like, I don't know who it is.
Can't
and
be
I
me,
message my
reckons?
cousins, and I'm like, it can't be me. So who is it out there that's having the baby? And every time, like, I take a photo, I send it in the group chat, like,
Yeah.
all right, which one of you mob is it? Because this kangaroo is this kookaburra is not leaving me alone. So I know one of you mob got a secret.
It ain't me, bruh. So is that your official answer? You're locking it in?
Yes, lock it in. Lock in.
Number A.
whatever.
Number A. Letter A.
Letter A, kookaburra.
It's correct. Every time you see one of those little cracks, everyone scatters. All the black girls just look at each other, big eye.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number 7. What's a typical nickname an Aboriginal uncle might give you? Is it A, champ? Is it B, nephew, niece? Is it C, matey? Or is it D, bub?
Well, if you're a male, it is definitely your nephew. Go do this for me. But if you're a female, sometimes bub can come in like, yeah, bub.
Yeah.
Go get Uncle a cup of tea now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Good girl.
if you are a nephew to an auntie, you'll get called bub. So
Yeah, that's right.
It's bubs all
Yeah.
round if you're an auntie.
Yep.
Well answered, Nagus. Well answered. Okay, we're almost there. Number 8. Which of these is a classic deadly outfit for a family barbecue? A Gucci tracksuit. B, 40 shorts, singlet and thongs. C, full black formal wear. Or D, R&M Williams boots and chinos. Think about it.
What blackfellas can afford R.M. Williams?
Oh, I know a
boots?
few that sit on boards. Don't muck
Oh, that's
around.
right. Sorry, yeah. Which blackfellas that don't have board positions can afford R.M. Williams?
Oh, the ones that work in government. Who else?
Yeah.
Let's keep going down the list. Who can afford chinos?
I'm gonna go. Oh yeah, chinos. I'm gonna go with the singlet combination. Thank you.
And that also includes basketball singlets. I will accept, along
Yes.
with white singlets or black
Yep.
singlets. Okay, number 9. How do you get away from a black gathering in an appropriate time? Is it A, you say goodbye to everyone and leave? Is it B, tell everyone you're leaving and walk out easily? C, say goodbye to one person, wave them, leave before others can see you? D, just slip out and pretend you were never there and face the consequences.
You can't tell people that you're leaving, right?
Correct.
Like let's get one thing straight. My mum, it doesn't matter where we go,
Yep.
we can't leave because she knows too many people and we'll be there talking for the next 3 hours. One of my best mates, his name's Jai, and he's a Maori fella, and we weren't really best mates, but our mums were best mates from school, and so we became best mates because every time they
Had
saw
to.
each other, we had to learn to play together because we would be there for hours. I'm talking like we go to the bakery, get bread. Oh, there's a best friend. So we're just sitting there outside the bakery, outside the newsagent, outside the shop, wherever it was,
Yeah.
for hours. And that's just one person.
But that's best friends by default because
Yeah.
there's nowhere else to go. You just have to sit there and
you
cop
have
it
to be. Yeah. And so that's just one person. So imagine that times 10
at a
when
gathering.
we're trying to leave church, when we're trying to leave NAIDOC, when we're trying to leave
Oh.
family barbecue. Everybody's got to hug, everybody's got to tell a story, everybody's got to have a kiss and blah, blah, blah. And then, oh, I forgot to tell you. And I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
just,
The amount of times that I've tried to leave like an event and you say goodbye to one person and then on your way out you run into more people, you stop talk, you get pulled up and you have to say goodbye to elders. Like there is no, if you don't say
Yes.
goodbye to, and if you say goodbye to one elder, the word gets out there really fast that you're leaving and then, oh, well, come and give me a hug then, bub. So you've got to go from one elder and then you've got to prioritise which elders to hug first and how long to spend on each of them saying goodbye. And if you've missed one elder, just one, then you're in trouble forever.
so yeah. So you need to just pretend you never went.
You just
Like
live
you're
out.
like,
That's
oh, I
the
wasn't
answer.
there. I'm like, you're in the photo. No, that wasn't me. I don't know how they put me in that photo. I
I
wasn't
can't
there.
believe you didn't say goodbye to me the other day. That's disrespectful. Honey, I
wasn't even there.
What are you talking about?
I was at basketball. Were you? I'm sure. So no, I wasn't there. That must be my cousin.
Oh my God.
My cousin brother there.
That's my cousin brother. So your answer to that is just slip out, pretend you were never there and face the consequences?
I have to. Like, and because as you can
That's the
tell,
answer.
I talk too. So once I get going, no, we're not going nowhere.
We're going to be those elders soon. And I will be looking at all my nephews and nieces. If you didn't say goodbye to me, bruh, especially now that we live away from them, you know what I mean? It's a different thing too once you move away from your family. When I go home, I expect the hugs and I want the goodbyes. Trust that. Okay. All right. Last question on how black are you? Number 10. What's a phrase black kids have definitely heard at some point growing up? Is it A, why are you kids inside? Get outside and play. B, keep going, see what happens. C, who you belong to. Or D, all of the above.
I'm just going to say this nicely, but you'd make a good stepmom, eh?
Why?
If there's any people out there that got kids and you're looking for a lovely, respectable woman, come see my sister girl here, because the way she said that, I was feeling
You got
disciplined,
fright?
and I was like, "Is this my mum? Is this real life? Like, what is happening right now?"
That was so funny because, like, those of you who can't see, I'm looking at Nagus on the screen and he was looking away. So he wasn't looking at me when I said those things. So all you heard was my voice and you snapped into place real quick.
Triggered. I was triggered. I was like, this is an actual black mum talking to me right now, saying,
"Yeah, why are you kids inside? Get outside and play." Oh,
shout out to the stepmoms. Carly's going to be one, I reckon, because that was good. That you need to. We need to get you in there.
I love disciplining kids. I'm the guy, and the thing is that I have the black mum voice, so I can do it really well. And
that was really good.
Yeah, the keep going, see what happens. Like, what's going to happen? I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to get flogged around. So you don't keep going. Simple as that. That's it. Pull it up.
No.
And
the other one, the other one, I can't remember what the exact phrase is, but I've used it 100 times since I heard it from my mum. Is nah, I told you not to do that. Don't come here crying. I told you not to do that.
God, ours was there now. There now. You want to go doing that? What I say?
Yeah.
There now. No, don't come around here crying. There now. I want to jump up that tree and get stung by wasps. I told you don't go up that tree. Far out. So yeah, if you want a good stepmom, I am it. Hit me up, black followers. Nah. So that's the answer is all of the above, and that is our first round. Woo. Let me just say, Aaron Agus, you are officially black.
Ah, thank goodness. I was a bit worried there for a second. Don't worry.
If anyone wants, certified Aboriginality forms, I've got them on this show. So you've got to come on. You've got to do the How Black Are You test. And we will give them out. We can sign those. We have the authority.
We get the authority. We cancel Kanye. We can do anything.
Oh, my days. All right, that's it for them yarns for another week. We're going to come back with more of those, brother. I love that. What do you reckon? What do you think about the
next time you're doing the test, I've got some questions for you. So maybe not next episode, but the next time we do, that's your turn.
All right, it's on. Thanks again. We'll catch you next episode of Them Yarns. Don't forget to
Thanks,
give us
everybody.
a follow. Laters.
Yo,
Central Boy.